All right, so one of the big topics for next gen has been the storage size available to us for the Series S, the Series X, and the PlayStation 5 on launch, and how we can work to expand that storage right away as more and more third-party and even first-party games are starting to take up over 100 gigabytes in size per game. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all this works out, but we do have an update now from Sony when it comes to expandable storage through that NVMe slot that we saw during that teardown of the PlayStation 5. We're going to go over that here today. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave Plus channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I want to go over here to The Verge, who did get confirmation from Sony about the situation around that NVMe slot. They say Sony has confirmed to The Verge that you won't be able to expand that blazing fast SSD storage on day one. While the PS5 features a dedicated internal slot that can theoretically fit standard stick-shaped M.2 SSDs and an easy way to access it, the slot will apparently be disabled out of the box. This is reserved for a future update, Sony tells The Verge. And unfortunately, if it is reserved for a future update, that means that even though we can access the socket for that M.2 drive, install it, and turn the PS5 with it installed, turn it on, it won't necessarily see that M.2 that we dropped in there. And that is unfortunate because we are starting to see more and more PCIe Gen 4 drives come out that should be fast enough, but Sony does not appear to have even really been testing these so far, according to The Verge, who's actually talked to several of these manufacturers for these PCIe Gen 4 NVMe drives. They say, I spoke to practically every manufacturer of a PCIe Gen 4 stick drive. There is only a handful, and not a single one was able to tell me their drives will actually work with the PS5. Two suggested that Sony's compatibility testing program hasn't actually kicked off yet. Several were optimistic, though, suggesting that their drive should meet Sony's requirements, and we're hoping to test for ourselves as soon as we get a chance. And unfortunately, there's a good chance we won't be able to test it, like I said, because there might just not even be an option in the OS to access that NVMe drive that you install. And it's unfortunate because it would have been nice for Sony to release a list of different drives we can use. And sure, that list initially wouldn't be very large, but it could be one that would be updated over time if it was on their website. They might just put like 3 of them up right away. And there are some now that are coming up. It should be this month. We should start seeing more and more of them release that do have more than the 5.5 gigabytes per second that is required for the PlayStation 5. And look, they're not cheap. It's like basically the same price as the Xbox Series X and S memory card. So it's not like you're technically saving any money between the two of them. In fact, some instances you'll see it be more expensive on the PS5 initially. But I did mention as more and more manufacturers get into the picture, probably on either side now with the Series X and S memory card, apparently just having a window where just the Seagate will be available, you'll see the prices for either side start to go down when it comes to expandable storage, and it'll eventually be very, very manageable. But as The Verge points out here, you can see these file sizes start to add up on you pretty quick. Sackboy is 32 gigabytes. Spider-Man Miles Morales on its own is 50, but if you want that Ultimate Launch Edition that comes with Spider-Man Remastered as well with it, 105 gigabytes. Demon's Souls 66 gigabytes, and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is 133 gigabytes. And on the Series S, it's like 136 gigabytes. So we can see these SSDs really getting filled up pretty quick if you're someone who wants to start grabbing all of the games at launch to play through them. And keep in mind, these are just initial file sizes. How many updates do you think we're going to get with these? I have a feeling Cyberpunk is going to be a pretty big game, and it's probably going to have a very large day one patch that we have to install. In fact, based on the history of Call of Duty so far, with what we've seen on PC, that file size will probably continue to balloon like crazy. But the good news for Call of Duty, Activision has said that you can uninstall certain parts of the game. So if you're someone who doesn't care about campaign, and you just want to do multiplayer, that'll probably fall below 100 gigabytes. So amazing. Yeah, that's really where we are now with games. If it's below 100 gigabytes, we consider that a win now. But what do you do now day one? How do we work this out if we start filling up the SSD very quickly? What are our options? And the best thing I can tell you is have an external hard drive ready to go. And as long as it's USB 3.1, it should at least give you the speeds necessary to move back and forth within reason, and that's mostly what you're going to do, so you can still take advantage of the very, very fast load times that the PS5 will offer. And really, if you look at this, if you're playing like 4 or 5 games at once that you're kind of shifting between, the SSD on the PS5 should be enough. You'll have to delete a game if you want to get another one, obviously, but I think you'll be okay at launch and probably for the first 6 to 8 months or so. And by then, going into 2021, when we start getting more and more games hitting, I'm hoping that Sony has this NVMe situation figured out. But the idea here is you can install PS4 games to your hard drive and play directly off of those through backwards compatibility. If you want to play PS5 games, they will have to be on that internal drive for the PS5, but you can store them on the external drive. You'll just have to move them back. So yeah, you'll be moving things back and forth all over the place, but at least we have an option so that we don't have to keep downloading or even installing them from a disk. And really, you can go either way with it. You can get a mechanical drive if you want, like a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte, and leave it plugged in the back of the PS5 because we do have USB ports back there, or you can get like a USB 3.1 enclosure and put your own 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte SSD inside of it, and that should cut down on transfer speeds quite a bit. So we have options. It's just a shame that that M.2 slot appears to be disabled at launch, and we'll have to wait for an update that's seemingly pending if they're not even testing with some of these different companies for compatibility. I do wonder what's going to happen and how long this will take. I'm hoping that Sony also comes out with some branded NVMe drives that they partner with companies for, just to make it a little easier for people to kind of decide which ones to get. There are a lot of people who are just like, okay, well, which one just works? That has the Sony logo. It's already tested through Sony and they're partnered. Yeah, let's just grab that one. We're good to go. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below. I'm a bit disappointed because I was looking forward to trying to test this out on launch day. I'll still check it out to see if there's any option there in the OS. I'm not counting on it, though. I think it's going to be part of a big firmware update that will then enable it outside of the OS, because when you pop it in, most likely you'll have to do some sort of formatting. I don't know if it's going to be the same as the PS3 or the PS4 because you were outright replacing drives that had the OS on it. I assume you'll just boot into the normal OS and it will then format it and ask you if you want to make that like your primary drive. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.